So we were solving the following equation: x cube minus 5x plus 1 equals to 0. So here means like the equation is in the form f of x equals to 0. So I wish to write it in the form x equals to some function of x. Either you call it phi or you can write it capital F, doesn't matter. Okay, so one form what I can write equivalent form of this x equals to phi of x in the above equation is as follows. So x equals to 1 by 5 times x cube plus 1. Okay, another way is I can write is, so I can write this as x okay, I can write this as x equals to x cube minus 4x, okay, plus 1, right? I can rewrite the equation in the following form. I can also rewrite the equation in the form of x equals to 5x minus 1 to the power 1 by 3. So there are many other ways as well. So right side is the function of x. So this is your, means for this case you have this p1 of x, you can see. For this case the right side is phi2 of x and here is phi3 of x. So for this you have the scheme is xk plus 1 is equals to phi1 of xk, and you start with k equals to 0. You take good initial approximation because it's given that the root lies between 0 to 1. So you can start with any, you apply some few bisection method, or you can take 1 by 2.5 start with, but we don't know whether this sequence will converge or not. So that's why it is very important to approach for a good functional iteration. So similarly for this and similarly for that. So this is what we have obtained there. Okay, right. So that next very important result, that is known as contractive mapping theorem. So I hope you are very clear what is the meaning of a contraction map. So if phi is a, so it first states that if phi is a contractive mapping of AB into AB, what does that mean? That there exists capital L belongs to closed 0 comma open 1 such that mod of phi of x minus phi of y is less than equals to L time mod of x minus y for every x comma y in closed interval AB. So if phi is a contractive mapping, so that so just now we have came to know that it has a unique fixed point. Okay, what more you can say, once you have identify a functional iteration for which, means like functional iteration in the form of xk plus 1 equals to phi of xk, and once you observe that this phi, that phi of x is a contractive mapping, what this theorem tells you, that this fixed point is the limit of every sequence obtained from this equation. Means this sequence, so this fixed point is the limit of every sequence, means you xk converges to that fixed point, xk converges to, let's say, R, okay, with a starting point x naught. So with any starting point x naught, it will go for convergence. So convergence is guaranteed when you take a contractive mapping. Okay, right. How the proof will go here is, so what you have, okay, what you have is the functional iteration xk plus 1 is equals to phi of xk. Now what you can, so let's say R is a, so here phi is a contractive mapping, R is a fixed point of phi, means phi of R is R, okay, means this means that phi of R is R. Okay, so now I wish to show that, so my claim, what is my claim is limit of xk or limit of xn is R. So for this I need to start with mod of xn minus R, or I can start with mod of xk plus 1 minus R. So that is equals to mod of phi of xk minus R. So if you further look at and use the fact that R is a fixed point of phi, so this is phi of xk minus phi of R. So just now I explained that phi is a contractive mapping, means there exists a constant L such that this is less than equals to L time mod of xk minus R. Okay, right, so where this is for any k greater than equals to 0, right, and L is belonging to close 0 1. So this is further less than equals to L square time mod of xk minus 1 minus R, right. Use this fact, this relation mod xk plus 1 minus R is less than equals to less L equal L time mod xk minus R. So replace k by k minus 1 both sides, so you will get this. So and so on. So this is less than equals to L to the power k plus 1 time mod of x naught minus R. X naught is a starting point. So this is a fixed number now, and L is less than 1, L is less than 1. So as k goes large, so right side tends to 0 as k tends to infinity. So what does this tell is limit of xk is R. So this is what our claim, that sequence of successive approximation converges to the fixed point of p. Okay, so this is what we need to claim here. Okay, so with a starting point, so you take any starting point, it will always converge. So what will be the rate of convergence and all, that is the next question now. Okay, right. So you need to, whenever you are choosing a functional iteration scheme or fixed point iteration scheme, you need to make sure that right hand side what you are defining phi of xk, this function phi is a contractive mapping, and which maps close interval AB, where you are looking actually the root onto itself. Okay, it's not means onto means but into. Okay, so range will be a subset of AB itself. Okay, right. So this is what you need to be careful. Okay, so what is here is, this is a you can say it's a this is the theorem given by Picard, which is known as Picard fixed point theorem. Okay, so instead of contraction, suppose you have the most strict condition. So I told you that if a function is contractive, okay, and if a function is contractive and it is differentiable, that is bounded. Okay, okay. So let's what is the Picard fixed point theorem says, let phi from AB to AB be differentiable on open interval AB, and there exists a constant capital L belongs to 0 to 1 such that the derivative at each point remains bounded for every x in closed interval AB. Then for any x not belongs to AB, the sequence generated by this functional iteration scheme converges to a unique fixed point R. So it's more simpler if the function is differentiable and it maps closed interval AB into closed interval AB. So it's very easy to check that its derivative is whether it's remain bounded and bounded by a number which is non-zero and strictly less than 1. Okay, non-zero, positive and strictly less than 1 number. Okay, so L is belongs to 0 to 1. That is very important. Once you know that, then still the sequence generated by this functional iteration scheme converges to a unique fixed point R in A. So how will you, so if I show that this implies phi is contractive, okay, phi is contractive, then I am through. Okay, so how would I show that? So it's an application of mean value theorem, I say. Okay, so phi is, so what is phi is from AB to AB is differentiable on open interval AB. Okay, and phi is, so definitely phi is continuous. So let x and y are 2 points belongs to AB. Okay, so certainly you have this x comma y is a, if you take closed interval, it's a subset of this upper interval AB. Okay, right. So then, so its function is continuous. So mean value theorem tells you that there exists, so you apply, so this, so therefore, so now by the result what I have is phi is mapping, phi is continuous, phi is a real valued function, okay, is continuous and differentiable. So there exists a z belongs to open interval x comma y such that phi dash of z is equals to phi of x minus phi of y divided by x minus y, the mean value theorem. So here we are using mean value theorem. Now this implies mod of phi of x minus phi of y divided by mod of x minus y, that is equals to mod of phi dash of z, and z belongs to open interval xy and it belongs to open interval AB, implies, so by the condition this is less than equals to L belongs to 0 1. So what does this imply? This all discussion, what it will imply is, this implies all this discussion will implies that mod of phi of x minus phi of y is less than equals to L time mod of x minus y for any xy. So you have started with for any xy in AB. Okay, so this implies that phi is a contractive map and hence by the previous result it has a unique fixed point and the functional iteration converges to a fixed point. Okay, so converges to a unique fixed point R. So this is result is now obvious. Okay, fine. So here the next result is can also known as a result on a stopping criterion. Okay, so here just now we have discussed that if a function, what it says is let phi is a function which is differentiable on open interval AB, and there exists a constant L belongs to 0, 1 such that the derivative remains bounded by L. So then certainly phi is a contractive and hence R is and it has a unique fixed point. So let's say R is a unique fixed point. Then show that for any starting point x0, the sequence generated by this functional iterations in satisfies the following criteria. So it is very simple to calculate the approximation. Okay, xn plus 1 and xn, if they are very close and you have this is L by 1 minus L. So L is known to you once you know this bound here. Once you know this bound, L is known to you. Okay. So this also you can use as a stopping criteria. So how will you establish this result? This result is very simple. Okay. So I will give you the hint for this now. So I hope you can prove that this very easily. Okay, it uses the result mod of A minus B is greater than or equals to mod A minus mod B. Okay, and you start with mod of xn plus 1 minus R. So you add and subtract xn and try to use the result. Okay, try to use this result. So this is certainly mod of A plus B or mod of A minus B. Okay, xn plus 1 minus xn plus xn minus R. Okay, so this will be certainly greater than equals to mod of. Okay, so this is an application of this. So here what is there is, okay, so instead of this you just start with mod xn plus 1 minus xn, add and subtract R here, mod of xn plus 1 minus R minus xn plus R. Okay, so multiply by L both sides. That will not be, because L is a positive constant. So this is greater than equals to L time mod of xn minus R minus L time mod of xn plus 1 minus R, and then you have this is further this is further greater than equals to mod of xn plus 1 minus R, because you know mod of xn plus 1 minus R is less than equals to L time mod of xn minus R, right? So this is minus L time mod of xn plus 1 minus R. So this is 1 minus L time mod of xn plus 1 minus R. So this implies our established result. So you can show that mod of xn plus 1 minus R is less than equals to L time mod of xn minus R by using the contractive condition for phi. Okay, and you can establish the full result. Okay, right. So this is how, so we will now move to discuss the error analysis part of it. So consider the functional iteration. So let's assume that everything is nice, means phi is a contractive mapping at least, okay, so that the convergence is unique, and let's say R is a unique fixed point, okay, means R is equals to phi of R. So phi of R is equals to R. Phi is contractive mapping which maps AB onto AB itself, AB into AB. Okay, and let's say R is a fixed point of phi. Okay, now let's assume that, okay, let's assume that there exists Q natural number such that if you take keep on differentiating phi, and if you obtain that up to k minus 1th derivative from first derivative, means like phi dash of R is equals to phi double dash of R is equals to, and so on, is equals to phi q minus 1th derivative at R is equals to 0. But qth derivative is non-zero. But qth derivative is non-zero. Then it can be shown that the considered scheme is has order of convergence q. Okay, it can be shown that the given scheme has order of convergence q. How will you show that? It's very simple again. So you have the following functional iteration: xk plus 1 is equals to phi of xk. So you subtract by R. So again you will perform the same analysis what you have done previously. Phi of xk minus R. So that is equals to phi of xk minus phi of R. Now, so this implies ek plus 1 is equals to phi of R plus ek minus phi of R. Now use the Taylor series for this, and we know that we have already assumed that up to q minus 1th derivative at R is 0, and expand it about the point R. So what you will get is, the first thing is phi of R plus ek phi dash of R plus, and so on, ek to the power q minus 1 divided by q minus 1 factorial phi q minus 1th derivative at R plus ek to the power q by q factorial phi qth derivative at some zk you can say minus phi of R. So phi of R will get cancelled, and yes, zk lies between xk and R. Okay, so this will be, so phi dash of R is 0, so this will be gone up to this here. So what it will be remaining is, this is equals to ek to the power q by q factorial phi qth derivative at zk. So this is the error term. So this is you can say approximately, or this is big O of ek to the power q, right? Or it is approximately, I can say, phi q at R. Okay, gk can be approximated by R because it lies between xk and R, and xk's are the sequence which converges to R. So for large enough k, and phi qth derivative we are assuming that this is continuous, so gk also converges to R. So in a limiting case or large k, it can be approximated by phi qth derivative at R. Okay, so error analysis can be proceeded in this fashion. So using the Taylor series for P of xn about the point R, we have the following. So where Gn is a point between xn and R. So with the help of this, you can discuss the error analysis for Stephenson's method as well as for Newton's method. Okay, right. So this is a very simple application of this, that let f from AB to R be twice continuously differentiable and R is a simple 0 of f. Then there exists a neighborhood of R and a constant C such that if Newton-Raphson method is started in that neighborhood, the successive points become steadily closer to R and satisfy the following. So it's very simple here. So we have already shown this in a already previous way. Okay, we have discussed. However, we can discuss with the help of this functional iteration here. Okay, how? So let's let us see this. Okay, so you have for the Newton's method, what is the scheme is xn plus 1 is equals to xn minus phi of xn divide by f of xn divided by f dash of xn. So this certainly implies what is the phi function is x minus f of x divided by f dash of x. Okay. So this sequence, so this xn, so we know that if you appropriately chosen the initial approximation, this definitely converges. Okay, so it's very simple that you can choose a neighborhood of r minus delta to r plus delta, that you can call as I. Okay, and you know that f dash of r is non-zero because r is a simple 0. So this can tells you that this can give you guarantee that phi from I into I, because it will converge to R only. Okay, it will lies in this interval only and is continuous. So this is very easy to prove that phi from I to I is continuous, because the sum of two continuous functions. Rational function is continuous everywhere except where the denominator vanishes. So because f is continuous, f dash is continuous. Okay, right. And f dash of r is non-zero. It says that f dash of r is still non-zero in the neighborhood of r. Okay, so it remains non-zero, that you can use as a result. So phi from I to I is continuous, so it certainly has a fixed point r. Now, so let R belongs to I, or means let, okay, and phi of R is R. That's very clear because R is a root. So if you substitute R here, phi of R is R minus f of R by f dash of R. So f of R is 0. So this term will goes to 0 at x equals to R. So phi of R is R. So R is a fixed point. So and phi of R is R. So we are now in safe mode. Okay. Now still again one more thing here, because this is sum of two differentiable functions. F is differentiable, f dash is also differentiable because second derivative exists. Twice different, because we have assumed that f is twicely differentiable and second derivative is continuous. So you can differentiate it at least once. So once you differentiate, so what is phi dash of x is equals to, so if I have here 1 minus, or if I differentiate it, okay, let us differentiate and calculate